After 7 years of marriage, I caught Corbin Graves cheating 3 times. The first time, he knelt in the rain, begging for my forgiveness. The second time, he joined forces with my parents, throwing tantrums to prevent our divorce. The third time, he gave up completely, smiling indifferently. Why don't you go find someone too? Satisfied now? Satisfied? Extremely so. It wasn't until I actually tried it that I finally understood him. The taste of youth and vitality was indeed wonderful. But Corbin came to regret his actions. Ding! webnovel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. On my 29th birthday, I found myself alone in an empty house. 2 minutes ago, Corbin, who had promised to rush back to be with me, sent me a message. Something urgent came up. Can't make it back. I'll make it up to you tomorrow. It was all so sudden. Immediately after, his secretary Lucy Hayward posted something on Facebook, clearly meant for my eyes. A hotel towering over 100 stories high, offering a panoramic view of the entire city. In a bathtub by the floor-to-ceiling windows. 2 hands covered in thick foam were intertwined. The intimate atmosphere was unmistakable. The mark where a wedding ring had been removed was still visible. I recognized Corbin's hand instantly. Laughably, I felt nothing about it anymore. After all, this wasn't his first affair. The Facebook post disappeared quickly. Lucy added another post. Posted the wrong thing. The boss is going to punish me severely. Crying face. I turned off my phone. My heart was numb, but my body felt cold, urging me to seek warmth. I drove back to my family home. At the doorstep, I made a motion to knock, but found my hand frozen in midair, as if bound by invisible ropes. So I stood there for several minutes. From inside, I could hear my brother Dennis' voice. Mom, Dad, isn't it my sister's birthday today? My mom thought for a moment. Tomorrow's your birthday, so today must be hers. Should we give her a call? She chided, what for? We'll celebrate hers along with yours tomorrow, like we do every year. She's used to it by now. My dad chimed in, Corbin's probably with her anyway. My mom suddenly raised her voice. With her? Corbin's still away on business. It's probably just an excuse, he doesn't want to come home and see her. Always walking around with a face like someone owes her £1,000,000. If she can't keep her man interested, who's to blame? Besides, Corbin's a big shot now. What big shot doesn't have a bid on the side? She should count herself lucky he hasn't ditched her after making it big. He's promised she'll always be the lady of the house, isn't that enough? She should just turn a blind eye. But no, she's always causing trouble with Corbin. Who could stand that? My dad and brother agreed, and the conversation moved on to other topics. The family resumed their cheerful chatter. Only I remained, getting colder and colder, my teeth chattering. 2 years ago, I caught Corbin cheating on me for the first time. I felt as if I'd been plunged into an icy lake. All I could say was, divorce. When you truly love someone, you can't tolerate even the smallest betrayal. Even though he knelt in the pouring rain all night. Even though he claimed he'd been drugged and set up. I cried all night, but I still refused to forgive him. My mom slapped me hard across the face. She pointed at me and shouted, "You were the one who insisted on marrying him. And now you want a divorce just like that? Do you want to bring shame on our entire family?" Seeing my disbelief, she softened her tone and tried to persuade me. Corbin was tricked by that hussy. Give him another chance, that should be enough. For a month, Corbin came to apologize and ask for reconciliation every day. I finally gave in and compromised. But I refused to share a bed with him anymore. Because I still couldn't get past what had happened. Corbin saw how I'd become a mere shadow of myself in such a short time. And he cried with remorse. He wrote me a promise letter and reported his daily schedule to me. Taking care of my every need. But less than 6 months later, I caught him cheating with his secretary. He said he was drunk and mistook her for me. I just stared at him silently until he stormed out, slamming the door in frustration. Corbin didn't ask for my forgiveness this time. He told my parents quite frankly, knowing they would fight his battles for him. My mom berated me, saying it was my fault for giving him the cold shoulder for 6 months, leaving him with no outlet. My dad said he'd disown me if I got a divorce. My brother said Corbin had funded his company and told me not to be selfish, to think of the family. They caused scenes at home, at my workplace, until they ran out of ways to get to me. My mom even drank pesticide and had to have her stomach pumped at the hospital. She cried and wailed, "January Copeland, if you still consider me your mother, don't mention divorce again. Our whole family is depending on this son-in-law. Everyone knows I have a wealthy son-in-law. If you get divorced, how will people mock our family? You can't be so selfish." Corbin's mates, who used to respectfully and affectionately call me Mrs. Graves, now mockingly advised me, "Mrs. Graves, what successful man like Corbin doesn't have a few mistresses on the side? All you have to do is be a rich housewife and spend money. No one can surpass you. Honestly, he treats you very well. If not for yourself, think about your leeching family, won't you?" Corbin didn't need to say anything because they'd said it all. I compromised again. This time, my relationship with Corbin hit rock bottom. I treated him like he was invisible. After a few failed attempts to engage, he started coming home later and later. I don't know how I got through that period. My mind felt like it was coated in glue, as if there was a glass dome separating me from the outside world. I couldn't feel anything anymore. Corbin cheated for the third time, bringing his secretary back to our house. They had just finished on the sofa, and Corbin's open collar still showed fresh, red love bites. I asked him, "Why won't you agree to a divorce?" He lit a cigarette, his features shrouded in a thin haze, and sighed resignedly. "January, at our age, you shouldn't be so naive. Even if I agreed to a divorce, your parents wouldn't allow it. I'm doing this for your own good. They say when a blind person regains their sight, the first thing they do is throw away their cane. I haven't done that. Even if I don't need it anymore, I'll keep it safe. So you can continue being a rich housewife. There may not be love between us anymore, but there's still family." I actually laughed. "So you finally admit that you don't love me anymore?" Corbin looked at me for a long time, his thin lips curving into a sardonic smile. I have to admit, even the strongest feelings fade with time. Now when I see your tears, I feel nothing. It's just annoying. What comes after feeling dead inside? I don't know. After leaving that place called home, I encountered a drunk man trying to take advantage of me. He chuckled as he approached me. "Hey beautiful, where are you headed? Let me give you a ride." As he said this, he reached out to grab me. I stared at him with unfocused eyes, feeling an uncontrollable urge to destroy welling up inside me. Die, just die, all of you should die. What's the point of living? Let's all stop living then. To his horror, I smiled and pulled out a pocket knife. For a while, I had developed an intense paranoia about everything around me, always feeling like someone was out to harm me. Carrying a weapon was the only thing that gave me a sense of security. Bloody hell, you're mental. Where'd this crazy bird come from? In an instant, his eyes cleared and he took off running. I chased after him like a madwoman, hurling the vilest insults I could think of. When my heels broke, I continued barefoot. I ran until my feet were raw and bleeding, until he was nowhere to be seen. I smashed my phone, smashed everything I could. It wasn't enough, still not enough. I desperately wanted to vent the destructive urge surging in my chest. Let's all go down together, all of you just die. Adrenaline drove my limbs aimlessly. And after who knows how long, I heard the sound of waves. I sat on the rocks all night, until the sun peeked over the horizon. After calming down, I thought for a long time. My husband was no longer my love, my family no longer my family. I had nothing left. With the most important things in my life completely shattered, I felt a strange sense of peace wash over me. No expectations, no hope, no attachments. What's the opposite of all that? It's doing whatever I want. So what if the sky falls? How could things get any worse than they are now? If you can't beat them, join them. Seen as an outsider? Then I'll fit right in. I could almost hear the sound of my soul shattering, replaced by a lightness in my body. The dazzling sunrise shone upon me. I clearly sensed something within me breaking apart and reforming. All emotions stripped away. Everything became meaningless. As I opened the front door, I caught Corbin and Lucy cuddling on the sofa, exchanging playful banter. The housekeeper who had helped me inside looked uncomfortable. "Sir, Mrs. Graves is back," she announced. Corbin glanced over nonchalantly, then paused. "What happened to your leg?" he asked. I replied calmly, "My heel broke, and I cut myself on some glass." Lucy chided, "Miss Copeland, I don't mean to lecture you, but playing disappearing acts at your age is rather childish. You had the boss worried sick all night, he barely slept." She cast a coy glance at Corbin, her implication clear. Corbin said nothing, giving her a slightly warning look, though not without indulgence. Lucy playfully stuck out her tongue. I smiled. "Well, these cheap heels are to blame. Not only did I fall, but my mobile got smashed too. Clearly, I need to invest in better quality. Perhaps you could help me shop for the latest limited edition spring and summer collections from those top brands. Money's no object, my husband's loaded." Lucy's face fell. She tugged at Corbin's sleeve, only to find him looking at me thoughtfully. "It's my birthday. Surely you can manage this small favor?" I pressed. Corbin suddenly grinned. "Let her do the shopping for you then." He patted Lucy. "You should head off now. I need to celebrate my wife's birthday." Lucy, deflated, shot me a weak glare before reluctantly leaving. "What would you like for your birthday?" Corbin asked. I looked at him directly. "Does your offer of an open marriage still stand?" Corbin froze, noticing as I pulled out my new mobile and pointed it at him. "Look at the camera and repeat that. I want evidence in case you change your mind." Corbin, seeming to realize something, smirked. "Don't worry, you can find someone else too." Satisfied now? "What if you regret it?" I challenged. "Regret?" He scoffed. "If I ever regret this, then I'm a dog." Satisfied, I leisurely instructed the housekeeper to prepare a room for me downstairs. Corbin's gaze lingered on my mobile. "New brand?" I nodded. "Got bored of the old one after so many years. Thought I'd try something different." To be honest, it had been ages since we'd spoken so civilly. But something I said must have struck a nerve. He let out a cold laugh and walked away. January Copeland had been acting strangely lately. After years of dedication to her career, she suddenly quit her job. She claimed that as a wealthy woman, there was no need to work anymore. She should focus on enjoying life instead. It was well known that in the past, no matter how busy or tired she was, she would never resign. She always said her job was her source of confidence. Now she was buying luxury cars, jewelry, and antiques. Things she had never shown interest in before. She refused to use the black credit card Corbin gave her, so he eventually stopped offering. Now, however, she accepted everything without hesitation. When she found something she liked, she would send him pictures directly, with a charming impulsiveness that was almost cute. She had her hair permed, which amplified her already striking features tenfold. Corbin began to feel a sense of crisis. He asked the housekeeper what January had been up to recently. The housekeeper said she now went to the gym every day. Working out, was it to please him? Corbin knew January had always been stubborn. Had she finally come around? Corbin should have been happy, but inexplicably, he felt a tightness in his chest. He felt things were gradually slipping out of his control. This wasn't like January at all. He lit a cigarette in his office, reviewing the recent oddities. An open marriage. Impossible. Even if January had given up on him, she would only try her best to divorce him. She wouldn't cross that line. The more Corbin thought about it, the more inexplicably irritated he became. Lucy mumbled in his arms. "She's all dolled up every day. I bet she's going out to cheat." Corbin felt like a taut string in his mind had suddenly snapped. He violently grabbed her hair and yanked it down. Amidst her cry of pain and disbelieving gaze, Corbin's face was filled with fury. "What my wife does is none of your business." You're just a mistress, do you not know your place? Lucy's eyes instantly reddened. But she still quickly lowered her gaze and begged for forgiveness. I'm sorry, I know I was wrong. But Corbin had lost all interest. He got dressed and left. As it happened, he was due to go on a week-long business trip to Bath. On a whim, he visited a church where they had taken photos just after getting married. There was a large oak tree outside, covered in red ribbons for couples. Corbin spent a great deal of effort finding the one they had hung up. It had faded significantly. But he still recognized her handwriting at a glance. January Copeland and Corbin Graves will love each other forever. His eyelids suddenly stung, and a bitter feeling began to spread belatedly. Corbin suddenly felt an urgent need to go home, to see January. But when he opened the door, he saw clothes strewn all over the floor. January's laughter drifted lazily from her room. Stop teasing, Alex. Carry me to the shower. He froze in place. When I opened the door, I was wrapped only in a towel. Alex let out a surprised "oh," and turned to look at me with a faint troubled expression. January, didn't you say your husband was away on business? How come he's back? I smiled reassuringly at him and looked towards the door. Why didn't you say you were coming back? At that moment, Corbin seemed to have turned into a statue, standing silently in place. The bewilderment in his eyes was too clear. As if he had never imagined he would encounter such a scene. After a few seconds, he finally came to his senses, instantly enraged. He raised his fist, about to swing at Alex. Fortunately, Alex had been prepared for this since the day he got together with me. Always reminding himself to stay fit in case my husband tried to hit him. He casually dodged to the side and spoke in a relaxed tone. That's enough, mate. If you hurt me, your wife will be upset. Don't be so daft. I let out a chuckle. Alex, you'd better go. My husband probably has something to discuss with me. See you next time. He picked up his clothes from the floor and, right in front of Corbin, hooked my chin for a deep kiss. Don't keep me waiting too long, love. I nodded with a smile, watching him leave. As soon as I straightened up, I felt a sharp pain in my wrist as someone forcefully dragged me into the bathroom. Corbin's eyes were bloodshot with excessive anger. He furiously tore off my towel and pulled me into the bathtub to rinse me off. I cried out in pain and slapped him hard across the face without mercy. What the bloody hell is wrong with you? The slap turned his head to the side, and it seemed his rationality was gradually returning. Corbin's jaw was clenched as he stared at me intently. January, how dare you betray me? I frowned. Corbin, why are you pretending to have amnesia? The day we agreed on an open marriage, you swore you wouldn't regret it. So what are you doing now? Corbin's face gradually turned pale as the water droplets slid down. His thin lips moved slightly. That's because you were certain I wouldn't cross that line? You were sure I would just grin and bear it, weren't you? I stretched my arms out on the edge of the bathtub, brazenly displaying the intimate marks on my body. Corbin, however, turned his head away abruptly as if his eyes had been stabbed. His fists were clenched so tightly they turned white, visibly trembling. I let out a light chuckle. You're truly pathetic. After our unpleasant parting, Corbin seemed to retaliate by bringing Lucy straight back to his house. The housekeeper went from initial shock to feigning deafness and blindness. I acted as if nothing was out of the ordinary, even complimenting Lucy on her new sexy nightgown. Seeing my nonchalant attitude, Corbin grew even more irritated. He yanked Lucy back into the bedroom, determined to make noise and draw attention. If I slept upstairs, they would be working next door. If I moved downstairs, they'd be active in the living room. In the dead of night, I was once again awakened by passionate sounds. And I couldn't take it anymore. I kicked their bedroom door hard and shouted, "Have you no decency? Can't you let people sleep?" The door opened quickly. Corbin appeared, his upper body covered in scratch marks, a smirk playing on his lips. I thought you didn't care. What's this about now? I suppressed my anger. What you do, where you do it, and how you do it, I don't care. But I hope you can keep it down when others need to rest. Is that too much to ask? Corbin looked at me for a long while. as if searching for even the slightest hint of jealousy on my face. After a moment of standoff, he tugged at the corner of his mouth, bored. Sorry, can't do that. Lucy also emerged, wearing her nightgown. She leaned softly against Corbin. I'm sorry, I've reminded him, but he never listens. Well, it is his house after all. Miss Copeland, you'll just have to bear with it. Hearing this, I thought, fair enough. I turned and went back to my room. Half an hour later, I was pushing my suitcase out the door. Corbin saw Alex Sheffield in the living room, and a vein throbbed in his temple. As I passed by, he grabbed my wrist. January, where are you going? I shook him off in disgust. Somewhere I can actually sleep. There, are you satisfied now? Corbin blocked my path, his tone frantic. You're not allowed to leave. Alex elbowed him. Excuse me, don't crowd January. If you don't care about her, I do. Corbin grunted as he was pushed against the wall. Lucy hurried out to help him but was forcefully shoved away. Throughout it all, his gaze remained fixed on my face. And I could see shock and confusion written all over his. I left with Alex without looking back. I'll return when the house is quiet again. Alex drove me to one of the properties under my name. He made himself at home, holding me tightly in his arms. You hardly contact me since your husband returned. What exactly am I to you? He asked. I affectionately stroked his hair. The other man, I replied. He put on a pitiful expression with his excessively handsome face. Well then, can you spare some time for your other man now? Though his tone was questioning, his hands were already expertly slipping under my blouse. I was speechless. It was hard to associate the man before me with the cold, harsh individual from 2 months ago. My first encounter with Alex Sheffield was far from dignified. When I discovered Corbin cheating on me yet again, my mother put on a show of scolding him in front of me before finally revealing her true intentions. She complained that I couldn't keep his heart, criticizing my hairstyle, figure, and personality until I felt utterly worthless. In the end, she advised me to dress up and please Corbin. I vomited right in front of her. I retched until my throat burned and my stomach continued to churn with indescribable nausea. Absurdly, my mother thought I was pregnant. She happily dragged me to the hospital for a checkup, only to find out it was just gastroenteritis. She left, muttering in disappointment. I stumbled out of the hospital in a daze, moving like a zombie. After walking for who knows how long, a business card appeared before me. Interested in fitness training? A voice asked. The words fitness training struck a painful nerve. I lost control and broke down in tears. Do you also think I should use fitness to please my cheating husband? Do you also believe his repeated affairs are because I'm not pretty enough or fit enough? Do you think it's my fault too? Many passers-by stopped to watch my unsightly display. In that moment, I felt utterly helpless. I hastily apologized to him, snatched the business card, and quickly walked away. His clear voice followed me. You're fine as you are. Your husband's infidelity isn't your fault. He made solemn vows at your wedding but failed to keep them. That's his failure, not yours. Fitness isn't about pleasing anyone else. It's about experiencing the feeling of shaping and controlling yourself. I roughly wiped away my tears and quickened my pace. That day, I sat by the river for a long time. When I finally looked back, I saw a tall figure standing behind me. A stranger, yet he had stayed to watch over me, fearing I might do something rash. Later, I signed up for the highest tier membership at his gym. He naturally became my personal trainer, and I learned his name, Alex Sheffield. Alex was incredibly handsome, with countless gym members trying to chat him up every day. But apart from work, he kept everyone at arm's length. Let alone someone like me, a married woman. However, I'm a very patient person. Back in university, even though Corbin was as poor as a church mouse, he was handsome and ambitious. That air of restraint attracted many rich girls to confess their feelings. He rejected them all without a moment's hesitation. I knew then that someone like me, from an ordinary background, would have more in common with him. I constantly hung around him, showing my interest without actually confessing, giving him no chance to reject me. Over 2 years, waves of girls chased after him, but I stood my ground. Corbin finally softened. The turning point came when his mother fell ill. I went to the hospital with him and helped take care of her for 2 weeks. Corbin took the initiative to kiss me, saying he would never let me down for the rest of his life. Although now it seems his words were utter rubbish. Objectively speaking, I do have some experience in pursuing hard-to-get men. After adding Alex on WhatsApp, I scoured through his posts. Although there were only a few, the information was enough. The songs he shared, the film stills, the topics he discussed. I spent a few days absorbing it all. Afterwards, when I went to class, I would casually bring up these topics. Wasn't that the perfect way to start a conversation? Visibly, the frequency of his replies to my messages increased. During the day, there were occasional physical contacts in class. And at night, there were more intense spiritual connections. Perhaps with age, I've become more charming. In less than 2 months, he opened up to me. Alex was from a wealthy family, with most of their business overseas. His parents had an arranged marriage, divorced after he was born, and each had their own lovers. Growing up without feeling loved, he chose to run away from home. He came back to England, preferring to be a fitness instructor rather than inherit that cold family fortune. Alex asked me, "Lucy, do you think I'm stupid?" I smiled. "Indeed, you are. Just as stupid as I once was. You ran away hoping they would come looking for you? But in reality, they'll quickly forget about you. And your inheritance will go to their illegitimate children. People who don't love you feel annoyed rather than heartbroken when they see your tears. I've been there." Alex stared at me, his eyes flickering. "You must have suffered a lot, haven't you?" My hand traced his beautifully toned chest. "Actually, once you figure it out yourself, it gets better. Don't expect anything from anyone, and life becomes much easier. Rather than being stuck in pain watching others have fun, why not find some pleasure for yourself?" Speaking of pleasure, that part of you. Alex caught my hand, resigned. "You really just want my body, don't you? But speaking of pleasure, that part of me indeed." He didn't finish his sentence. Instead, he planted a trail of kisses down my body. His actions proved that he could indeed give me great pleasure. It had only been a few days since I moved out, and Corbin was already causing trouble in the middle of the night. His mates added me to a WhatsApp group. They sent several videos of him drunk at a club, calling out my name. Typical Corbin, he certainly knew how to get under my skin. January, no matter what, you can't just ignore Corbin. He's about to drink himself into hospital. I replied, "Can't you get his mistress to pick him up? He only wants you to come." I sent the video of Corbin swearing he wouldn't regret it to the group. No one dared to say anything after that. Soon, the group was disbanded by the admin. But my phone rang immediately after. "January, Corbin's drunk and we don't know what to do with him. Please come, I'm begging you." I was about to hang up when Corbin grabbed the phone. "January, come and get me. I'll double your living expenses." I paused for 2 seconds. "Address." Alex sleepily wrapped his arms around my waist. "Don't go." I gave him a kiss. "Be good, I'll make him buy another sports car. And next month we'll go on a road trip." Alex finally relented. When I arrived, it was one of Corbin's mates who came to meet me. The same one who had once told me to let things go in that condescending tone. Within Corbin's line of sight, I patted his face. "I see you're still quite charming. You know Corbin and I are doing our own thing now. Fancy going shopping with me?" He looked bewildered, but his Adam's apple bobbed involuntarily. Before he could speak, Corbin's fist flew towards his face. "You bastard, what kind of look are you giving my wife?" His mate was stunned by the punch. "What? I didn't do anything." Corbin was clearly not listening at this point. He was about to hit him again when the guy who got punched got angry too. "Are you mental?" The two of them got into a scuffle, and it took several people to pull them apart. I watched the whole scene unfold with my arms crossed, thoroughly entertained. When Corbin sat in the passenger seat, he seemed a bit dazed seeing my amused expression. I was in a good mood, so I didn't mind him staring at me. "Where to? Back to your love nest with Lucy?" He was silent for a moment, then said with some difficulty, "That's our home." I didn't respond, feeling uncomfortable when I smelled the strong scent of alcohol on him. "This car reeks of booze, I'll have to send it for cleaning." "You'll have to buy me another one." "I'll send you the details of what I want later." Corbin closed his eyes. I almost thought he had fallen asleep until I heard him laugh self-mockingly. "Is this all we have to talk about now?" I found his question bizarre. "Weren't you the one who said I should be a rich housewife? What are you complaining about now? Your only value to me now is to make money for me to spend. Otherwise, why would I be faithful to a rotten cucumber like you?" "Sorry, I'm not as cheap as you are." Corbin took a deep breath and slowly opened his eyes. His eyes were dark with emotions I couldn't quite decipher. "January, I hardly recognize you anymore." I laughed. "Can't handle a divorce?" Corbin chuckled softly. "Divorce? Not possible." Corbin seemed determined to make things difficult for me. I had just got the new car and was planning a trip with Alex, when my mum suddenly called me dozens of times, insisting I come home for dinner. I wouldn't believe it wasn't Corbin's doing. Sure enough, as soon as I opened the door, I saw Corbin looking all chummy with my family. My dad, probably drunk, was red-faced and happily waved for me to sit down. "January, Corbin says he's going to cut ties with that other woman and make things right with you." I couldn't help but glance at him. What game was he playing now? Corbin's gaze didn't waver, his expression looked sincere. Just like the first time I caught him cheating. "Darling, I've already promised your parents. Will you give me one more chance?" My mom was grinning from ear to ear. "That's right, whatever issues you have, just talk it out. A harmonious family is the foundation of everything. I say you two should hurry up and have a baby. That'll make the marriage more stable." Corbin nodded in agreement, and everyone else chimed in. No one cared about my opinion. I picked up a piece of fish and put it in my mouth. When they finally turned to me with expectant looks, I smiled slightly. "What, didn't Corbin tell you? I've cheated too." The atmosphere suddenly went quiet. Corbin's pupils dilated in shock. He couldn't believe I had just torn off this fig leaf. My brother was the first to react, laughing awkwardly. "January, you're joking, right?" I tilted my head to look at him. "Your brother-in-law and I decided long ago to have an open marriage. We each do our own thing. You're young, you should understand, right?" Corbin grabbed my hand, trembling slightly. His expression was hard to read. Somewhere between crying and laughing, and quite ugly. "Darling, that was just me talking nonsense. Let's not mention it again, okay?" I shook off his hand. "I don't understand what you're trying to do. Isn't it good the way it is now? I don't interfere with you, and you don't interfere with me." My dad slammed his fork on the table. "How can a woman cheat? That's disgraceful." My mum chimed in, "A woman should be proper and faithful." "January, you end it right now." Seeing that I was ignoring her and still eating, she knocked the fork out of my hand. "Did you hear me?" The air was thick with the unpleasant smell of smoke and alcohol, making it difficult to breathe. I stood up and violently flipped the table. "Won't let me eat? Then no one eats." Plates shattered on the floor with a crash. Corbin stood there stunned, looking at me as if I were a stranger. I let out a cold laugh. "When a woman cheats, it's disgraceful. When a man cheats, it's the woman's fault. When a man wants to come back to his family, it's a blessing. When a woman wants a divorce, it's a family scandal. You treat your son-in-law like your own son, but you drag your own daughter through the mud. How wonderful of you all." Amidst their shocked expressions, I raised my voice. "Look down on women, do you?" I turned to my dad. "Who paid for your surgery? Was it your precious son?" "No, it was me. Me, the woman you look down on." Then I turned to my mom. "Every time after dinner, your husband and son just flop onto the sofa. I'm the one who cleans up to make things easier for you. And all I get in return is girls should be diligent to find a good husband. You always think of your son first when it comes to food and drink. You only remembered me when your back hurt and you were in hospital. When I was too busy to come, I asked your reluctant boy to visit you. And you were so happy, saying a son is always better, a son is more reliable. Everything I've done for you was wiped clean by that one sentence. Do I owe you something? I looked around the room. Even this house was bought with money I saved up. What has your precious son done? I pointed at Dennis Copeland, whose face had turned pale. All you do is beg me not to get divorced. Your career depends entirely on your brother-in-law. Since that's the case, why don't I divorce him and you marry him instead? Wouldn't that be better? January Copeland, have you gone mad? My dad was so angry he was about to hit me, but Corbin held him back tightly. He looked at me, his face full of disbelief. After all, family was my last soft spot, and now I had torn it apart with my own hands. Mad? Maybe. I turned around, picked up a baseball bat, and smashed it hard against the TV. Since you look down on women from the bottom of your hearts, then don't use a woman's money. Let your precious son and son-in-law buy it. The TV, which I bought, smash. The fridge, which I bought, smash. The air conditioner, which I bought, smash. I smashed everything I could, destroying it all thoroughly. The scene descended into chaos, with my mom slapping her thighs and wailing about raising an ungrateful child, saying she might as well be dead. I smiled gently at her. If you want to die, go ahead. Last time you drank pesticide and were saved. Next time, just jump off a building. Make sure it's a tall one. I won't stop you this time. Her wailing stopped abruptly. When the place was in complete disarray, I threw down the bat and looked at my terrified family. I won't take care of you anymore. Do whatever you want, live or die. If you push me again, I don't know what kind of madness I'll unleash next time. On the way back, Corbin seemed to still be in a daze from the incident. His tone was tinged with bewilderment. January, what's been going on with you lately? I closed my eyes to rest, and lazily asked in return. You're using your old tricks again, trying to use them to force me to reconcile with you. Now that it's turned out like this, are you satisfied? Corbin drove, looking ahead. He tried to smile at my words but found he couldn't. So why won't you forgive me this time? He asked. You don't want me, and now you don't want your family either? January, when did you become so heartless? His tone was calm, but each sentence was heavy with helplessness. I slowly opened my eyes. Corbin, they're your family, not mine, I said. When I was hurt by you time and time again, they chose to stand against me. From that moment on, they were no longer my family. The only thing I regret is not waking up sooner. Look, how much better it would have been if I had. From now on, I have nothing I care about. What can you use to threaten me? I gave him a composed look. The car slowly came to a stop, and I got out without a backward glance. From behind me came a whisper, almost lost in the wind. Yes, what can I use to keep you? I put these tiresome people and events out of my mind, and fulfilled my promise to take Alex on a road trip. For a month, we traveled westward. We ran across vast moors and witnessed the majestic sunset over the hills. The long-dormant vitality seemed to gradually revive with the surging of blood. For the first time, I experienced a sense of freedom. It was addictive. After we returned, Corbin asked me to move back home. He said he had fired Lucy, and I wouldn't see her again. I agreed, as it didn't matter where I lived, as long as I was paid. However, on the day I moved back, Lucy showed up at the door in a frenzy. She seemed to have been drinking and was crying and making a scene in the living room, clinging to Corbin and refusing to leave. I don't believe you don't love me at all, she cried. Corbin was now very cold. That's right, I don't love you at all. Lucy's tone turned sharp. If you don't love me, how could you let me take off your wedding ring? How could you allow me to sit in the front passenger seat? How could you miss January's birthday and let me post on Facebook to provoke her? Do you dare say you have no feelings for me at all? It must be that which forcing you to break up with me. She cheated herself but won't let you divorce her. I'm going to confront her. With that, she angrily tried to go upstairs to cause trouble for me. But Corbin grabbed her and threw her to the ground. His tone was icy, suppressing his fury. Lucy, how dare you call my wife a witch? You're asking for death. Who do you think you are, to dare make a scene in front of my wife? Lucy stared at him blankly, tears streaming down her face. But she laughed hysterically. Corbin, why are you pretending to be a good husband now? Did you think of your wife when you were in bed with me? Now that she doesn't love you anymore, you're crawling back to her. How pathetic! He didn't argue, just called the housekeeper to drag Lucy away. I came down the stairs and met Corbin's gaze. He suddenly seemed at a loss. Darling, I really have ended things with her completely. I cut him off. You don't need to explain anything to me. Corbin saw the bag in my hand and hurriedly asked, "Where are you going?" I opened the door without looking back. Alex isn't feeling well. I'm going to check on him. I won't be back tonight. Corbin couldn't say another word. He stared blankly as the door closed gently, his eyes suddenly brimming with tears. Alex was truly ill. Probably exhausted from his journey. He started running a low fever as soon as he returned. I forcibly took him to the hospital for an IV drip and medication, keeping busy all day. Get some rest, I said, feeling his forehead before getting up to turn off the lights. Alex grabbed my hand, his voice hoarse. Don't go. I'm not leaving. You sleep, I'll stay with you. His sickly complexion was pale, his usually flamboyant features now oddly docile. January, no one has ever been this kind to me before. If you'd allow it, many people would be this kind to you. Alex looked at me with near obstinacy. It's not the same. I only want you. I paused, lowering my gaze. In your current state, you probably couldn't manage, could you? Cough, cough, he glared at me, the tips of his ears turning red. Actually, it might be possible. Don't you want to try with a temperature of 38? I pinched his lips shut, expressionless. Stop. I'm not at the level of exploiting the sick yet. If you're not going to sleep, shall I leave? Alex reluctantly closed his eyes, but his hand held mine tightly. I let him be. The next morning, I made him a pot of chicken soup. Alex lazily hugged my waist from behind. Are you leaving? Take care of yourself. I'll come see you in a couple of days. He frowned. Your husband's quite the opportunist, isn't he? I'm sick, so he's sick too? I laughed. Can't be helped, he is the official spouse after all. Alex bit my collarbone in frustration. I skillfully slipped my hand under his shirt, feeling the contours beneath his smooth skin. Such strength? Shall we have an in-depth chat for half an hour? He took a soft breath. His eyes darkened as he lifted me onto the kitchen island, kneeling on one knee. Half an hour isn't enough. It was nearly evening by the time I got home. The housekeeper had called me earlier to say Corbin had a high fever. I couldn't be bothered. Then Corbin himself called me shortly after. He threatened me with Alex's job to make me come home. As soon as I entered, I mercilessly threw my bag at his face. Corbin Graves, what's the point of acting like this every day? He stood motionless, his tall figure silent in place. His gaze fell on the bite mark on my collarbone, his pupils trembling slightly. I smirked mockingly. Go on then, what do you want with all this fuss? My stomach hurts. I snapped impatiently, if your stomach hurts, go see a doctor. I'm not a healer. Corbin moved his dry lips. I miss your chicken soup. Not in the mood. But you were in the mood to make it for Alex, weren't you? I paused on my way upstairs, frowning as I looked back. Are you stalking his Facebook now? Corbin, you were the one who suggested an open relationship. So why are you being unreasonable now? Don't you have anything better to do as the CEO of a public company than obsessing over someone else? Does it give you a sense of achievement? You think targeting Alex will get to me? If he's gone, there'll be another David or James or William. I have absolutely no qualms about using your money to keep other men. It doesn't bother me one bit. When will you finally understand that no one cares if you're ill or not? Corbin suddenly bent over, clutching his stomach. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead as if he was in extreme pain. He tried to say something to me but couldn't get a word out due to the pain. His eyes held an obvious plea. I coldly watched his pathetic state. I called the housekeeper, then turned and went upstairs. In the middle of the night, I vaguely felt someone kissing me. I instinctively pushed him away. Alex, stop it. He froze, then became even more passionate. I could barely breathe. The moment I fully awoke, I slapped him hard across the face. Corbin, are you mad? He didn't dodge, instead pressing his face against my palm. I felt something wet. Darling, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry. Let's make up. No more fights, please? Corbin's voice was choked with emotion as he desperately tried to close the distance between us. His kisses fell on my neck. Whatever he can do, I can do too. I'll make you feel good, all right? Furious, I yanked his hair, forcing him to look up. How dare you compare yourself to Alex? He's young and clean, while you're so filthy. I feel like I'll catch an STD just by touching you. How can you even say that? Corbin broke down. He covered his eyes with one hand, sobbing. What should I do then, January? Tell me, what should I do? I was even more distraught. Go find someone else, for God's sake. No one's stopping you. Corbin held me tightly. I won't, I'll never do it again. Darling, I'm so sorry, I truly regret it. Please forgive me one more time, I beg you. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed his hair and dragged him to the sink. Do you remember what you said before? You said if you ever regretted it, you'd be a dog. Look at yourself now. Don't you look like a dog? In the mirror, he looked gaunt and pale, his bloodshot eyes lifeless. A far cry from how he was a few months ago. As I gripped Corbin's arm, I realized just how shockingly thin he had become. I had intended to shake some sense into him. But he just tugged at the corners of his mouth and whimpered pitifully like a dog. January, I am a dog, I'm scum, I'm an idiot. I don't care if you hit me or curse at me, do whatever makes you happy. I just want you to change your mind. We'll get back to how we were before, we will. He mumbled, as if trying to convince himself. I let go of him in disgust. To my surprise, with just a light push, he collapsed to the floor, completely drained. I frowned as I looked him over for a long time. Corbin, when did you become so weak? You haven't really caught some nasty disease, have you? If you're sick, get treatment. My quality of life can't drop one bit, that's my only requirement now. After all, making money is the only value you have left. After the confrontation, I decided not to return home. Surprisingly, Corbin didn't bother me anymore. My mom, however, started calling again, playing the victim with a cautious tone. My dad and brother also took turns contacting me, their attitudes noticeably improved. They hinted at wanting me to visit home more often. This has always been their way. Favoring the son over the daughter, treating Dennis and me differently. When his clothes were old, they could be replaced, mine were patched over and over. His plate was always full of chicken legs. I was told girls have smaller appetites and should be content with wings. His pocket money could be topped up, mine was never enough. There were too many disappointments to express. Yet every time I resolved to hate them, I'd remember a night when I was ill. The blanket tucked tightly around me, and their worried sighs. What pained me most wasn't their constant belittlement, but how they made me suffer while simultaneously creating the illusion that they might love me. I spent the first half of my life chasing this elusive warmth, because it was enough to numb all the hardships and pain I'd endured. Some say a parent's love is like a damp woolen coat, cold to put on, cold to take off. The bravest thing I ever did was to choose to be with Corbin, despite my parents' scolding. It was the only major escape my soul had made in 20 years. Everything that followed proved I'd made the right decision. Gradually, the memory of my biased parents faded, replaced by the image of loving family members. I despised myself for being cheap while craving love from my relatives. Until Corbin cheated, shattering the beautiful illusion in an instant. It turns out it was all just a dream before my soul's demise. At 29, I finally took off that damp woolen coat. I won't let it torment me anymore. After blocking everyone, I let out a slow breath. See? It's not such a big deal after all. It had been 2 months since I last saw Corbin. That day was the anniversary of his mother's passing. I bought a bouquet of white chrysanthemums to pay my respects. He stood silently in front of the gravestone, wearing a black cashmere coat. We stood side by side for a long time, neither of us speaking. In such a setting, it was hard not to reminisce about the past. When we first got married, Corbin was busy starting his business, securing investments, and entertaining clients. He worked himself to the bone trying to earn money for his mother's treatment, ending up in hospital several times with gastric bleeding. It broke my heart. I learned to prepare stomach-friendly meals for him while running between the hospital and his office. My chicken soup was his favorite, so I perfected that recipe. Corbin's mother had pancreatic cancer. She had surgery, but unfortunately, it recurred. I was by her side during her final days. She would tell me stories about Corbin's childhood over and over. His father had an affair and abandoned them when Corbin was very young. He matured early, never even going through a rebellious phase. His mother said meeting me was a blessing for both of them. Before she passed, she made Corbin swear to take care of me for life. He nodded vigorously through his tears. So even though Corbin had an affair, he wouldn't shortchange me financially. I couldn't be bothered to argue whether this counted as breaking his promise. Let it be. As I turned to leave, I heard his calm voice. January, let's get divorced. I paused, then lowered my gaze after a long moment. All right. When signing the divorce papers, I glanced at the asset division. He was unexpectedly generous. Apart from his company shares, he gave me almost everything. The amount was staggering, beyond my expectations. I wasn't foolish enough to refuse. I even joked lightheartedly. I knew my judgment in men couldn't be that poor. At least you're quite generous. His cheeks were so sunken that he looked like a skeleton wrapped in clothes. He looked up at me, a self-deprecating smile tugging at his lips. But you stopped trusting me long ago, or you wouldn't have secretly transferred assets. I smiled faintly, saying nothing. From the very beginning, I never intended to be entangled with a scoundrel for life. That's why I kept asking him for money, using various methods to transfer assets to overseas accounts. Even if we had a falling out and I didn't get a penny in the end, I'd have enough capital to live comfortably for the rest of my life. I had long since paved my own way. No one could shake my resolve anymore. The day we got our divorce papers was surprisingly beautiful. Alex stood next to me, his smile brighter than the sunshine. Thanks for being so understanding, mate. I'll take good care of your ex, he said smugly. Corbin ignored his provocation. His gaze lingered on my face, as if trying to etch every detail into his memory. I curved my lips into a smile and nodded at him. Take care. He let out a soft mem, his eyes reddening despite his efforts. January, I'm sorry, he said before turning to leave. We had finally reached this point. Alex asked about my plans. Without hesitation, I replied, I'm going to travel the world. During that month of road tripping, the wild winds of nature pierced my skin, setting my stagnant blood flowing and surging once again. At that moment, I realized it wasn't my soul that was shattered, but the cage around it. I could go anywhere. I was free. What about you? What's next for you? I asked. Alex looked down at me, his expression relaxed. I've decided to go back and take over the family business. You're right. There's no point in running away. I shouldn't hand over what's rightfully mine. I nodded, smiling. Good. I support you. From the beginning, we had an agreement. Either of us could end this relationship at any time. It seemed like the time to part ways had come. As I was contemplating how to say goodbye, Alex's clear, melodious voice rang in my ears. January, you just keep moving forward. I'll catch up to you. I was slightly taken aback as he continued. If I do catch up, I hope you'll give me a chance to properly be with you. January, I really like you. It didn't take long to decide. I smiled, reaching out to hug him. All right. I won't stop for anyone. But I don't mind walking alongside someone compatible for a while. As for how long we'll go, that's up to fate. 6 months later. I received a call from home while visiting the Abu Simbel temples in Egypt. The caller was Corbin's solicitor. He informed me that Corbin had passed away minutes ago due to stomach cancer. Before his death, he had sold his company and left all his assets to me. Upon hearing this news, I was only momentarily stunned. Though sudden, everything seemed to fall into place. The solicitor's voice was heavy. My condolences. Mr. Graves also left a message for you. He said he respects your decision. Would you like to hear it? I remained silent for a moment. That won't be necessary. After hanging up, the guide Alex had found for me asked with concern if there was any urgent matter and whether we needed to pause the tour. I shook my head. It's nothing important. Let's continue. He nodded with a smile and resumed explaining the local history. The scenery before me quickly occupied my entire attention, as if the news I had just received was of no consequence. Indeed, it wasn't important. Keep moving forward, never look back.